Hey everybody, Sinus here, bringing you the second game of the first week of the Monster Train League. My competitors are Narninian and Nathaniel. You can check them out in the description, but here's the run. So I check my starting deck and decide to take Sketches of Salvation, which basically reads, reduce your effective deck size by 4, especially in a Melting Remnant run with more units that are generally just kind of garbage than ones that are actually good. So I'm going to play around that to some extent, but my idea is just take Frostbite Tethys and a tank and go. Starting with 2 Titan's Teeth lets me just kind of chill, although I have to reset this first fight immediately, which is the only reset I make, just because I'm not able to kill the first wave of clergymen without using a Titan's Tooth. This fight is very aggressive, especially when you're taking the Mark of Invasion trial in addition to dealing with the first floor wave. So instead I have to play Titan's Tooth, floor 1, and basically just kind of pray I draw a Train Steward or another Titan's Tooth. I draw both, but I choose to use the Train Steward, which is probably the wrong choice. It nevertheless does the job, and Tethys survives till the boss wave. Going out the Clergyman, and then should have consumed out Hallowed Drippings. Chains is almost dead, so I only lose a couple seconds from not being able to take it out. Then I take an Offering Token to play my Titan's Teeth more easily, and move on. From the Stygian Banner, I'm looking for my tank. Icy Silophyte doesn't quite fit the bill, but I take it anyway because a sweeper is handy to have on your sketches floor, especially if I can give it quick later in the run. Reduce the cost and upgrade the magic power of Titan's Tooth, and then double stack the other one for more Frostbite, making it a pretty strong offensive card in both cases. I opt to avoid the unit draft trial, which I'm not sure I would do again in retrospect. Play Tethys and then the Incant Frostbite Totem. Yeah, Totem. And that's a pretty okay combination, especially with Offering Tokens multiple Incant support. That will hopefully get me through most of the remaining wave, which it more or less does, maybe less rather than more, but it clearly does the job. Only one phase into Relentless on the second floor, and we're good to go. None of those spells are just too expensive for what they do in a deck that's primarily built around Frostbite. Then I figure out what I'm doing, which ends up being taking the spell upgrades and Pyre Health, and Heaven's Aid is a risk, but it's one I'm willing to take, being so far behind in the league already. And I end up with Holdover on my Offering Token, and what I'm looking for from my Titan's Tooth are 2 different options. One of them is Gain Gold and Reduce to 0 cost, and the other is what I call the Spreading enchantment, where, like Spreading Spores, using the Titan's Tooth would add another Titan's Tooth copy to my discard pile. And the second tier of that one, the Heaven's Finest, also reduces the cost to 0 from 3, which is a huge buff, and one I'm really hoping to get. The second tier of the gold one also does the same with the cost reduction. It's just not as good because I can't spam them like I could otherwise. Daedalus fight's going okay. Most of my second floor has gotten killed, but they're not really integral to the strategy anyway. And I've gotten enough Frostbite built up on Daedalus that I'm not too worried about this. Although I expect to cash in on my Frostbite, I'm going to have to use the Pyre to defend. Again, not necessarily the end of the world, but not quite ideal either. Relentless 1, add some more Frostbite with Titan's Tooth. You can see how small this deck gets already, because I have 4 Dregs, 4 Stewards, and 4 Stewards come out instantly, and then I have Hallowed Drippings for my MR starting card, which consumes. So this is it, right here. And I do indeed have to accept 1 Pyre hit. That Discord ping is not yours, it is mine. Sorry for that being in the background. Then I take Titan Sentry as a better tank, or as a way to cash in on my Sketches of Salvation floor. Especially the bad units are just a good way to cash in on Frostbite delivered by Titan Sentry. Count how many times I have said cash in this video so far. Add Large Stone to Titan Sentry to make it just do its job tanking better. Ditto Heartstone. Grab my champ upgrades, and then I'll move on in just a second. Here comes Fight 4. It's a pretty easy setup. One of the easier combinations, and it doesn't involve blights either. With the Titan Sentry, I'm completely fine defensively. The attack values of units in this fight are pretty dang weak. Offering token lets me play my Titan's Tooth for free if, you know, I can actually play my Titan's Tooth properly. And because my deck shrinks down so small so quickly, I can easily play it again and again. And I've got enough oomph on the Titan Sentry to do it without Titan's Tooth, but Titan's Tooth just kind of speeds up the process. Could take Frenzied Swarm, but I by no means have to, and I opt against it. And here it comes. It's going to be spreading. And because spreading 3 cost is obviously pretty bad, I'm going to wait one more fight so I can get it all the way down to 0 cost. Take Hammer Chestplates for extra survivability against sweepers. It's still not really that good, but a man can dream. Shouldn't have upgraded this Frozen Lance, as you can see by the fact I immediately purge it. Because I do want to have a large number of units, so I'm more likely to get my Titan Sentry outside of the Sketches of Salvation, so it can tank for Tethys a little more safely. Far from guaranteed to happen, but in this fight it does. I set up 3rd floor to avoid stealth, which was a mistake, albeit a minor one, because the defensive ability of Titan Sentry allows me to basically avoid the stealth of these guys. Again, minor only because I'm not in danger of losing or anything from that. It's just slower, mainly, because I have to wait till Relentless 3 to do my killing, sorry. And again, my deck has shrunk down to quite small size. But as soon as, after this fight, I receive my Titan's Tooth back from Heaven's Aid Man, that is going to change, and rapidly. Again, I'm not quite going to kill the boss here, but I can use the Pyre to cash out on the accumulated Frostbite. And he only hits twice. None of those, and none of those. I should probably be fast-skipping by this point, but there is a Hoarfrost effigy I might potentially want. Being able to double Frostbite quickly against flying bosses would obviously serve me well here. I dupe the spreading 0-cost Titan's Tooth just because it's the best single card in my deck, hands down. And with that, on to Fel. Wrathcrest can be scary, but isn't necessarily, because I see Titan Sentry in the back, and the fact that I know there are sweepers in this fight, I choose to not play Tethys at all. I'll save her for later if I can, so she can deal more damage to the boss during Relentless. But even that may not be necessary, and I don't really want to spend the brain power and resources to protect her. If possible, the Train Steward next to Titan Sentry could die, and then I could slot Tethys smoothly in behind. But that Steward actually proves to be remarkably resilient, I have to say. Mostly because I kill off anything that may threaten it with my Titan's Teeth. But now, if I redraw Tethys, I can play her. You can see why I don't redraw Tethys in this fight. Because that entire hand was Titan's Teeth, and much of the rest of this run is going to look that way. I take extra draw, I believe, yeah, which was a good call. I'll stand by that one. Extra draw allows me to play more of those lovely 0-cost double-stack Titan's Teeth. I'm looking for Cuddlebeard, and luckily for me, it's right there. I could also have taken Gauge, because the set cost to 0, I believe, ignores it. But I didn't want to risk that being wrong in the middle of an otherwise pretty successful run, and the other very strong artifact in Cuddlebeard I could have taken was right there. So why not? Here I'm kind of wondering if I have to play Tethys in this fight at all, because again, Titan Sentry not showing means it's a little bit less safe. And I can basically play Tethys whenever I please, seeing as she's drawn in many turns. And being able to spam out these Titan's Teeth, like you see here, is very effective, because it combines the spreading animation into one, saving some time, and also just piles on Frostbite to the point where I barely even need to lift a finger. This offering token is getting in the way of my mash. I have to press keys around it, so I choose not to hold it over, but then I use it here just for extra safety. 154 Frostbite turn 1, and then another giant amount comes out, and Nethel is very clearly dead. On to Seraph. I'm feeling pretty good about this run, although sad that I did not pull any Hoarfrost effigies. Another Spreading Titan's Tooth is the, in my opinion, fairly obvious choice. And then the Offering Token needs to go so it can speed up my mash. Double stack goes on nothing. And we're moving on. This is Seraph the Temperate, which for Frostbite strategies is, I think, the best one. Diligent would also have been probably fine here, just because I can consume the Spreading Titan's Teeth all I want, because they'll just come back. With that, I'm just going to target the floor with Seraph every round, pretty much. With, I think, a few exceptions, just to make sure I stack up Frostbite to end the boss fight as quickly as possible. Not exactly rocket science there. And my hand is already all Titan's Teeth, and I believe that is the way it will stay, with a possible dreg in here somewhere. So being able to accumulate Frostbite on the boss so quickly, I do play a couple against the Gilded Wing to ensure it doesn't attack the Pyre. But all Titan's Teeth all the time is the name of this run. And something close to that will be the title. With just a little bit more Frostbite, Seraph is quite clearly dead. And for this league competition, rather than pausing time immediately after Seraph, which I do anyway, we're using a run summary time. So that's going to be 11:58. The 2 seconds you see here don't actually count for whatever reason. And with that, that's this run. Check out my competitors in the description. And if you enjoy, please do like, subscribe, and join my Discord for the league table, link in the description. And if not, comment down below with some feedback, and either way, have a good one. This has been Sin.